Hey guys, how's it going? Crane here. So you guys know I have been doing very well in Arena lately in Whispers of the Old Gods, and yeah, a lot of my big success runs have been with Rogue. In fact, Rogue hits 12 wins almost every single time I play it. Must be luck, right? No, it's actually not. There's a certain dynamic to the Rogue class that is unique to it that really highlights and levels it above the rest when it comes to arena play. So I wanted to talk about that today so I can give you guys, on one hand, a better understanding of how you actually have to behave if you want to win consistently in arena, and on the other, I can identify a few of the issues that, kind of plague the game a little bit so you can understand on a fundamental level why the imbalance happens. So Rogue has a lot of very high tempo cards. Arena is a very tempo oriented game, and that alone kind of puts Rogue in a good spot regardless of anything else. Just the card style, let's say. A lot of cards like Backstab, kill something for 0 mana, then you can play something of your own. That is a ridiculous card when it comes to Arena, because the first few games matter more than anything. Now, this was always true, so there hasn't been that much attention brought to it, but I feel it is slightly more true now, even though we have a lot more taunt minions available, and we have a lot more taunt minions in the recent expansion, which has the highest draft bonus, so you do get a lot of taunt minions. Taunt minions, while they keep you alive, they do not do a good job when it comes to pushing the tempo, because the taunt aspect of a card costs something relative to its mana cost. If there's a minion with taunt at a certain mana, there's a better minion without taunt on that mana as well. So the taunt minions do a pretty good job of extending the game, but the main issue that is plaguing Arena is that there are very few ways to turn around the game through tempo swings. And the Rogue just has so many of these turnarounds in the early stage, which makes it build the incremental advantage turn after turn. So if you're winning in Hearthstone, you're going to be winning by more on average moving forward turn after turn after turn, as you are the one initiating the trades, you are the one choosing whether you go face, you're the one making all the choices, the balls in your field, and you get to do whatever you want in most games. So this makes it a problem. This makes it a problem that classes that can do 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop are just going to get out of control. The main thing that affects this is there's a lot less spells, there's a lot less removal in the new set, and that makes it so the draft bonus applies to cards that are mostly minions. A lot of the board clears that are still in the game and still very effective, they get saturated by, the whole bunch of new cards that get introduced. So it creates a game where, honestly, very often you play around nothing because chances are your opponent has nothing. And this allows, a player to kind of carelessly play into a lot of cards. And that's kind of how the game is. A lot of people criticize my plays. It's like, a year or two ago, it would be a really bad idea to deliberately play into a Flame Strike. Today, if you look at your hand, you think, well, if my chance to win right now is like 60%, but the chance that he has a Flame Strike is like 30%, so if I play into a Flame Strike, I might just win the game on the spot. And you're often in that situation, and you'll often see good players in Arena make that decision to deliberately play into Flame Strike and other cards and other board clears and other situations, other weapons, for instance, and still, consistently win a lot more games than they lose. This is kind of the game that we're at. And the fundamental part comes in the first few turns. If you are the player who can initiate the spots, get better trade, get incremental advantage turn after turn, make these decisions, you are going to just win because you are going to more appropriately decide how the game is going to work. Rogue does this better than any other class because of its hero power. Now, you've probably heard that a little bit if you're kind of an Arena savvy player. Yes, Rogue has the best hero power when it comes to Arena, but I wanted to just give you guys the reality of how good it is. So the Rogue hero power creates a 1-2 weapon. Weapons in Arena are actually incredibly powerful. If you see a weapon, even though it looks like it's really bad, it's probably the best card out of the 3 that you're given in that situation in your draft. Weapons allow you to invest your health to gain a tempo advantage, and that's just kind of the nature of winning in Arena these days. The rogue weapon is a very special weapon because there's a lot of common cards that influence its attack, and basically what I'm trying to get at here is, as a rogue, you will want to use your weapon in the first 4 turns of the game every game. Now, if you compare this to any other class, you do not want to use your hero power in the first 6 or 7 turns. Unless you're maybe Priest. You can have the heal. The heal is an extremely powerful ability, but if you have no board, if you only have minions that are really low curve, your hero power does nothing. If you're turn 2 on a Priest, and you don't have a card to play, you passed your turn. So your mana efficiency on turn 2, where it's super important, was 0 out of 2. That is a really big problem. If you take a look at any game in Hearthstone, any arena game in Hearthstone, I think the player who utilizes their mana best in the first 4 turns is going to be the winner. I think a vast majority of the time, not just more than 50, huge percentage of the time. And that's because the minion quality is generally about the same. So the player who can just play more stuff and initiate the better trades is going to be up a lot. And Rogue having this factor where you basically get to choose when you want to play your hero power, when you want to do a 2-drop at any stage in the first few turns of the game, gives you huge flexibility not only in the game itself, but also in the draft. When I draft Rogue, I kind of highlight 1-drops and 3-drops. 2-drops are still fine, but you don't need as many 2-drops as any other class. So you also get the added benefit of eventually having higher quality 2-drops. You have the added benefit of having more 1-drops and 3-drops. So your early game is so significantly more consistent than anybody else's because you have to hero power in the first few turns of the game that it's absurdly one-sided. It's absurdly one-sided. The chance that a rogue will win the early game over any other class is way above 50%. And that's what makes Rogue an extremely powerful class. Rogue basically initializes the win condition at the start. If you compare that to a Priest is never really going to be winning the early game. They might be winning kind of a little bit, like a 2-drop on the board or something, but because they can't use their hero power, they can't really be winning until turn 5. And really the Priest win condition is you trap your opponent into playing a really big minion and you have an answer for the really big minion. Or you trap your opponent into playing into a board clear and you happen to have that board clear. That's how you swing back a game. Good luck with that, by the way. So you kind of see the difference here. Rogue just plays out so smoothly. It curves out so ridiculously well. I think if you've seen some of my 12-win runs, I have 100% mana utilization through every single game, except maybe on turn 1. You kind of have to look at it this way. The game is very much decided in the first few turns of the game. So, the game opens up, the chance that either player wins 50-50, right? So one player plays a 1-drop. If they went first, the chance that they won rises a good 20 or 30%. You almost just win for going first and having a solid 1-drop. Now there's a lot of bad 1-drops, and there's a lot of counters to 1-drops. That's why it's not, completely one-sided. But, the differences are huge at that stage in the game. So, if you're playing, and, you look at your hand, no 1-drop, no 2-drop going first, and you're playing a class with a hero power that doesn't work, well, it's goodbye. You're probably just not going to win that game. The only chance that you win that game is if your opponent is in an equally bad position to develop the board in the early game. And you can bet at high wins that is not very likely at all. So that's kind of how you have to look at it. For a lot of the new arena players out there, Rogue is a very interesting class. It can be a very difficult class, but if you have that in mind, 100% mana utilization, you have to hero power in the first 4 turns of the game, so you want to manipulate your turns to make that as efficient as possible. You generally are going to win a crap load of games. Rogue is just so good on this fact. I just can't stress this enough. You don't even need 4-drops. You can play a Rogue with 1, 2s, and 3s because on turn 4 you can play 2-drop, 2-drop, or hero power 2-drop. The flexibility is outrageous. So that's what's going on in Arena. Rogue is winning because of tempo and because their hero power is literally on another level. They're the only hero power in the game that you want to play in the early stages. And that has huge, huge results. So that's what's going on. Be scared of those rogues in Arena when you see them. And maybe pick a few more if you do want to win. So check it out. Hope you guys have learned something from my analysis here. And I'll see you guys in a little bit.